Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Sourcing.Guru. I'm delighted today to welcome Kathleen Terjesen, who is the head of GBS for Bose. Kathleen, welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
So, Kathleen, you've had quite a career in GBS. I think the audience would love to know kind of your career journey. Where did you start and how did you end up or pick GBS?
Yeah, I would say probably GBS picked me more than I picked GBS, but I'll give you a little bit of the history. So my academic background is in finance and accounting. And, my original thought was, okay, I'll become a CPA and I'll go through that track. When I graduated with my master's in accounting, there was a program at AT&T at that time where you could actually work under a CPA so that you could, be certified. But once I got into the business world, it became very clear to me that, a narrow focus in accounting didn't necessarily meet my best interests. So I spent probably the first 8 years of my career in every finance role you can think of, right? So from doing consolidated planning to doing business case reviews to, managing operations within finance to being a controller for the consumer organization. And through those events or experiences, I should say, I had the opportunity to be the financial lead on, at that time, one of the biggest outsourcing events that we had done at AT&T. And this is back in the mid to late 90s. And we outsourced about 2,500 of our technical IT professionals. And I was the finance lead on that engagement, which got me very close to working with the procurement organization. And so we went through that program or project for about a year, ended up, outsourcing, working through financial SLAs, et cetera, and got a tap on the shoulder from the chief procurement officer at that time saying, how about you come on over to procurement, because we've got lots of contract legal types of folks who know how to work with terms and conditions, but we really need to beef up our, financial advocacy, if you would, experience within the procurement organization. So I moved to procurement. And I've had some level of touch point, if you would, in procurement since that time. So I did everything from managing procurement operations, which includes, AP, contracting processes, payroll, et cetera, to actually managing the direct sourcing organization at AT&T. And then from there, I took a role in pharma, and it was very much in that source to pay. So that was really a lead from being a procurement professional to really looking at end-to-end source to pay and leading through an ERP implementation that included source to pay, account to report, order to cash, all of those, and really being the process design lead, working with the technical team, but also then managing the operations. And through that experience was my first touch point, I'll say, into GBS, because what ended up happening was, as we were working each of these work streams as part of the ERP implementation, it by default became the global business services organization that had to catch, if you would, or maintain, once the ERP went live, all of the transactional pieces across the organization that went through that. So that was really the formation of GBS through the ERP implementation. And then once we realized that, yes, you need a global business services team that has, controls and processes and across various locations, we then at that point, had I'll call it robust, maybe maturity level 2, if you would, meaning a multifunctional global shared services organization. But really it was concentrated to those core processes. From there, I was lucky enough then to bring additional services into GBS. So I was leading what we called at that time enterprise shared services, which was things like our global creative team, events and meeting management, contingent labor. So all of those things that are kind of peripheral, if you would, to shared services, but not part of, I'll call it, core accounting, HR, et cetera, processes. And then from there, I had my first experience with another company within manufacturing to be able to stand up greenfield shared services environment. And then finally, I took the leap to Bose, which was my second greenfield experience, but really in a way, and I'll be happy to share with you later, where we've taken it from being, I'll say, really a traditional shared services to really being a strategy enablement service-based organization for the enterprise. So that's a little bit kind of the windy road. And as I said, GBS found me more so than I found GBS, but I've been lucky enough to have great experiences starting with financial background into finance and then into things like creative and event management all the way through, managing pension plans and, HR benefit plans. And it's really been a learning experience and continues to be.
Kathleen, what a rich set of experiences across industries, across business functions. And I can tell it's going to be very motivating for others to know that they can gain these set of experiences and make their way to such a leadership position as you have today. Can you talk a little bit about your role today and the kind of business functions that your GBS role covers today?
Yeah, sure. Our Global Business Services organization at Bose is truly a multifunctional global organization. And I'll just give you kind of a little bit of the breadth of what's included within our organization. So we have what we call employee and workplace services, which is really your traditional hire to retire types of transactions, in addition to all of our global property, whether it's owned or leased management, and the facility management, including things like environmental health and safety, et cetera, that go with managing the facility. So really a focus on the employee, both, I'll say HR performance type of transactions help, but also the workplace and workspace for that employee experience. We also have your traditional shared service center type of work, right, where you've got the end-to-end transactional processes, data maintenance, things of that nature. And we've got our major hub within Europe, but then we do have what we call satellite locations, one in Mexico and two in Asia, really to be able to cover language and things of that nature. The third area that we cover as we're going through is indirect sourcing. And I know many of your folks listening here are sourcing professionals. So all of our indirect sourcing, majority professional services, technology, things of that nature are also included within our business services scope. And then finally, what we call digital and data, which really consists of the IT organization, as well as our data and analytics center of excellence. And that's really about data standards, data models, et cetera, to be able to support the business, whether it be supporting our products in the field, supporting marketing campaigns, so as we all know, data drives the decisions that we make as a business. And that really is, I'll say, one of the crown jewels that we have within the organization is the digital and data components.
Kathleen, thank you for sharing that. Well, let's move on to our next topic, talking specifically about GBS and sourcing.